Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining our First Steps program for tonight, January the 27th. Wow, last Thursday of January already. That's crazy. I'm so excited. If anybody doesn't know much about me, I hate winter with a passion. I am probably the worst Canadian that way. I cannot do winters. I get such a grizzly bear on me. So anything closer to the summer is a good day for me. Hope everyone's having a safe and healthy winter. I know that COVID continues to be a concern for most families. I just actually got another COVID tested COVID. My nephew got tested COVID positive in Brantford today. So we've had COVID in the household now, or in the family now for going on 3 weeks. Somebody's had it. So far everyone's safe. Today, we're going to talk about social media. And it's going to be kind of a dialogue discussion. We're going to give you some best practices. We could go into some demonstrations and stuff like that, but we're going to mostly talk best practices as well as, kind of core concepts and beliefs about social media and how it works. And then kind of go through, a strategy session about how we can, as agents that are new to the business or agents that are training to become real estate agents, and what we can do with social media now. I know we have a few newer faces here. You're welcome to chime in, ask questions. It is an open mic here. You do not have to feel like you're new. You can be you came one time, you're family now. So speak anytime you have a question. Aza, thanks for coming again. I really appreciate it. Feel free to use the chat as well. Logan will be manning the chat. If something comes up in the chat that I need to know about, she'll make sure that I'm aware and we'll bring it to the attention. So if you don't feel like busting in, feel free to type it in the chat, and then Logan will bring it to my attention or stop me from talking at some point to get me back on topic. We do have a few of our Chase agents here, people who were in the First Steps program, went through the entire course from course 1 to, graduated and now licensed. I'll let them introduce themselves today so that everyone knows who are live agents within Chase. We'll start with Bruce.
I'm Bruce, and I've been doing this a long time.
Bruce has been a broker for over 35 years.
Yeah.
Broker of record for all of those times.
And look forward to any question you have.
That's right. Logan?
Sorry. Hi, everybody. I'm Logan. I've been licensed since July of 2021. And yeah, that's pretty much all.
It's been exciting since.
So I haven't been doing it quite a year yet. Yeah.
Mad? Maybe Mod's gone already. Heather? Unmute.
Sorry, took me a minute to unmute there. I've been a licensed agent going on 3.5 years, and I've been with Chase for about 1.5 years, and I love it.
Thank you very much. And Morgan?
Yes, hello there. I've been licensed since September, I believe. Something around there. Yeah. And yeah, so far so good.
Killing it.
We got Michaela as well.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I've been licensed since about October, and I've got 1 sale under my belt so far.
There you go. Atta girl.
There you go.
Ahmad just got his first listing, by the way, folks. It's a lease listing, but it's a first listing nonetheless.
No way.
The listing. Yahoo!
I'm
Wow,
a realtor
Ahmad.
CA. So I've been licensed. I was licensed between Morgan and Michaela, and I had my first listing yesterday, and I'm working on another one. So hopefully a second one will be coming.
There you go.
And it's fun to be with you guys. You guys are awesome. I called Chris maybe 8 times yesterday.
And then 3 more today.
Had an 1.5 hour call with Heather. And today with Ron. So I think Bruce, you're the only guy remaining. Are you on tomorrow?
Geez, I feel left out.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a call tomorrow. You might be stuck with me for an hour.
So
But
the
no,
reason
you guys are
I
awesome.
the reason I got everyone to introduce themselves is number one, to know that there are people that have been in the First Steps program, been through the First Steps program, graduated, are doing business, are with Chase Realty. We have many people have graduated through First Steps, made it through First Steps, graduated their courses, joined other brokerages, and still remain very close family members of ours. Erica up in Sault Ste. Marie and I were talking the other day. Amy and Bruce were talking yesterday. So we have many different, many of our friends have graduated. So First Steps, for those who are new here, I just want to make sure that we introduce it a little bit so that everyone knows what to expect. We are an open dialogue community. And I mean community in the broadest sense, is that this is not a sales pitch. We aren't here to get you to join Chase Realty. In fact, we would love you to join Chase Realty if we provide enough value to and you choose to do that. But ultimately, we want to make sure that people can join a group and be a part of a community that helps them learn and expand so that they can feel like they're going to be productive realtors when they graduate. So we really wanted to dive into some fairly deep topics in First Steps. And we started originally talking about course content and stuff like that. But we've since switched the tone of First Steps to more core understanding of how and what you're learning affects and is utilized as a real estate agent. Logan leads a study group on Wednesdays for those who need study help for their tests. So if you want to join a study group talking about the actual course content, Logan would be happy to have you join her on Wednesdays to do that with. Today, we're going to talk about social media. So go ahead.
I was going to say, if anybody here wants to participate in that, you can drop your email to me privately in the chat, and then I'll make sure that we get you in on Wednesdays at the Wednesday meetings at 8 p.m. though.
8 p.m.
And if I could say something, Chris, Chris and I started doing this because we didn't like what the new registrants were coming out knowing next to nothing.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem to connect. They knew a lot of stuff, but it didn't seem to connect to the business. And that's why we started doing this. And it's the mentorship in us that does it. We, as I've said before, we don't get paid for this. We do this voluntarily. So
Pro bono.
yeah, there's nobody paying us to do this. So that's where it started, but we truly were interested in the questions we were getting from new agents, and we're going, it shouldn't be, there's got to be something else. There's another step that people were missing, and I think that's what's filled this in.
Yeah.
And we're thrilled to do it.
Yeah. Precisely. So with those introductions, folks, let's talk about social media. And the role it plays in today's real estate landscape, because it's quite huge and quite vast. It is probably the number one, it's probably the first exposure you're going to have to sales and marketing. And it's also going to probably be the one that most people gravitate towards the most over their careers. And that's mainly because the name of the game in real estate is contact, right? It is getting in front of people face to face, voice to voice, person to person. And without actually being at their house, you want to be in their minds. You want to be part of their world. So social media is the place that we do that now. And there are many different platforms, and we can talk about a few of those. And so we have, obviously we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have LinkedIn, we have Snapchat, we have what's the next one? Pinterest,
TikTok.
TikTok's a big one. It's growing fast. TikTok's probably the one that I spend the most time on anymore. So video, 7 to 10 second videos, do more of those, folks, especially if you make me laugh. If you take video of people falling down, man, you got my attention, because that's I'm that guy. So social media, what we want to do is we want to create an ethos, right? We want to create what is our persona on these social media platforms. And it's really important that we understand that the person we are will permeate through all of our media. Okay, so some people will be one way in their personal space and another way in their public space. And the reality is that there is no personal and public space. Ahmad and I had a conversation about this earlier today, just talking about that a little bit. And the idea is that we as business owners need to make sure that our voice is fairly standardized across all of our platforms. Now, I don't care what your message is. Whatever you decide your message is or who you are, that's up to you, right? But the idea is that across your platforms, you're going to be talking to people similar to who you want to attract, right? So we want to make sure that our general guiding principles are in the direction of the people we want to attract. And we do that by starting early and writing down who it is we want to attract. Now, I know Morgan reads a lot of books and does a lot of self personal growth stuff, and he'll probably be able to say the same thing that I'm going to say, that the people you surround yourself with the most will be the level you perform at. Okay, so your bank account, so to speak, your energy account, your financial account, your spiritual account, your fitness and health account, those accounts that you carry in yourself will be at the level of the 7 to 10 people you associate with most. So if you could tell me the bank account balances of all of your 10 friends, I can within 3% tell you your bank account balance, right? So the reality is that we want to start identifying who we want to associate ourselves with, right? And we do that early in our careers. We do that early and we talk about it early so that we can make a plan to meet higher quality people from a business perspective. Now, there are a lot of people on my Facebook feed or in my personal, my sphere, that I don't share their same ethos. I don't share their same belief structure. And as hard as it is, some of those people I've had to remove myself out of their world because those people drag my bank accounts down, my emotional bank accounts, my spiritual bank accounts, my fitness bank accounts, all of these things, they drag me down to their level. Even though I want to be higher, they bring me to a lower level. And not because they're being malice, right? It's not anything like that. It's just a belief structure that they've built their world around, right? So we want to identify what we actually want, and we want to seek connections that bring us up into that next level rather than bring us down to the level below. Is this making sense a little bit? I want to see if I get some nods or not. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that you can't, I'm not saying that you can't make friends with people who don't match what your belief structure is. That's not it at all. It's that when you associate heavily with people, right, you adopt, because of conformity, their belief structures. Because as a human culture, as a society, as a group, we want to conform to the people around us because we are a social networked species, right? We want to be like everyone else so that everyone else likes us. It's very uncomfortable when we talk about this stuff, right? Because we have some beliefs about money that I can use. Maybe some people have some sayings that they say often, like, I don't know, money doesn't what? Does anybody have any sayings that they tell themselves often? Like money doesn't
buy happiness.
Doesn't buy happiness. Anybody else have another one? Money doesn't.
I said money doesn't grow on trees.
Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the
root of all evil.
Root of all evil, right? I'm not made of money, right?
Chocolate.
All these negative associations we have with money come from somewhere. It's lonely at the
Top.
top, right? Has anybody heard these sayings? Obviously, a few have, right? Has most people heard these sayings before? And the reason we're talking about this stuff is because it's really important that we get in our minds, we keep it straight in our heads, what we're trying to say, what information we're trying to portray, what kind of person we're trying to be in the social space. Because as a real estate agent, what I want to do is I want to be an elevator, right? I want to lift people up. I want to educate people. I want to support people. I want to be that person that they can count on and rely on. Is all that making sense? But if I don't already know in my head that I have some of these negative interactions or negative thoughts, if I'm not aware of them, then I can't, in good faith, move them forward, right? So I identify them so I can grow myself. That make sense? So if we don't like money, right, then what do we do? If we don't like, go ahead, Mogan.
We continue the cycle.
Yeah.
The same thoughts, the same things we've been told about money
Yes,
all our lives.
all our lives.
Yeah.
And it just beats us down. And we believe it. So we have a thermostat in our brains. When things are going really well, right? Like they're going hot, burning hot, right? Lots of stuff is happening. It's life is just going on like full tilt, right? Have you ever had life just moving forward really well and then did something stupid because you wanted to bring it down a notch and you find your original level? And then all of a sudden, oh shit, things are going bad. Oh my goodness, I don't have any, money, or I don't have the level of success that I'm used to. So all of a sudden you bring it up a little bit. And we always have this little governing cycle that just brings us higher, brings us lower, brings us higher. And if we average it out, it's always going to be this level line of where typically our parents were. Right? Because our parents and the social circle that we grew up with, those are the people that taught us our belief structures around these things. Now we get the chance, now that we're aware of these things, to break that cycle, to start saying different things to ourselves, to be better, to start saying different things and be better for the people that we're helping. Now this is really big, philosophical talk we're talking about here, because it's really important that we get our minds right. Because if we don't have our minds right, how can we support others to get theirs right? Right? If we're not aware of these things and aren't building on these things, or are trying to fix these things in ourselves, then how can we expect to be helping other people to do that? It's unfair for us to think that they should trust us, because we don't believe the stuff we're selling them. Right? So there's a thing called congruency. Anybody ever heard of congruency? Does anybody know what congruency means? Go ahead, Morgan.
Sorry?
You said you look like you were saying.
Oh, I was just saying like matching.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Correct. It's matching. So congruency is saying one thing and doing the thing that you are saying. That is congruent. That is matching, right? Incongruent is saying one thing and doing something completely opposite. Like, hey, you should really invest in real estate properties, and then not do anything with real estate properties and not believe what you're selling. So Brian Tracy is a sales guy. Actually, it was Zig Ziglar. Zig Ziglar was a sales guy. For those who don't know Zig Ziglar, he wrote a bunch of books. He had a training program, but he also was a pots and pans salesperson, door to door. And when he first started in selling, right, the first thing his mentor told him to do is buy a set of pots and pans. Zig said, I don't even have a house. Why would I need pots and pans? And his mentor said, because if you don't believe they're worth buying, then why should anyone else believe they're worth buying? Because you need to be congruent. You need to be saying what you believe and doing what you believe so that other people can then form a level of trust with you. Because I have 3 things that you need to do to be a salesperson, right? People need to know you, they need to like you, and they need to trust you. Okay? They can't like you without knowing you, and they can't trust you without liking you. Right? And if you're incongruent, if you're lying to the public, well, that's not trustworthy, nor is it worth liking. Right? So again, I don't care what your message is, whatever message you're choosing to do to the marketplace, that's up to you. So long as you firmly believe and you act in accordance with that belief, which puts us into a structure of where we go to social media, right? When we're on social media, I see all too often people having 2 faces, right? They have a public face and a private face, right? And it's incongruent because if they're not the same thing, then how can I believe you? How can I trust you're being who you say you are? Which one is you, right? Which one is the one that I should actually believe, right? Are you this way or are you that way? So when you're on social media, when you're posting on social media, you can firmly believe whatever you want to believe. You can say whatever you want to say. You can be whatever you want to be. But it's really important that your message is who you are. Now, it's naive to think that your private page is going to be anything but public. Because if I have people on my private page, guess what? They're my primary clients, right? They're clients to me. They're future clients. They're people that I'm trying to talk to get to trust me, to eventually maybe so that I can support them in big decisions. And on my public page, the same thing. Now, if anybody knows me, right, I am a very supportive guy. I like to educate. I like to talk, right? I like to let people know the good news of things. I'm not very negative. Now I get into negative spirals, right? But you can go through my social media feed and you will very rarely see anything negative posted. Because I don't believe negativity is necessary. I believe reality, like realism and pragmatism, needs to be talked about. But I certainly don't believe negative thoughts are something that I need to be sharing outward. So my social media presence tends to be very positive focused and to be fair, fairly bland, right? I don't talk about very many things that might alienate myself from anybody else. Some people we know are very political. We know a couple people in our organization, other organizations that spend a lot of time talking about very divisive political opinions. Now, those people speak to their audience, right? But they're very congruent with that rhetoric, that talk, and their audience eats it up. And they're not worried about the other side. They're not worried about the people that have differing opinions because they're not who they're focusing on, right? Now, my recommendation is always when you're talking politics or when you're talking religion, to be very cautious about what you're posting, mostly because you don't know who it's bothering. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't post it. It just means that you always think twice about those things. Is this making sense to people? Am I talking around in circles for people, or?
So the way I equate it to ice cream, when you're in real estate, you want to be vanilla. You don't want to be grape. Grape, some people like it.
Nobody likes grape, don't lie.
But you want to be vanilla because everybody likes vanilla. So you need to appeal to as many people. The other piece I use when meeting somebody is I call it the circle. And what they say, what they wear, how they talk, does it complete the circle? So they've got a fancy suit on, an expensive watch, and they walk out and they get into an old car. Well, to me, that's not, the circle's not completed. So what part am I missing? So, and I've always used that. When somebody's talking a certain way, a number of things should follow along with that. If they look a certain way, a number of things should follow along with that. So it just gives you a little bit of insight when you're talking to them. Does that circle complete? Are they talking big money, but then saying they can't get a mortgage? There's something not right about it. So what's not right? So you can usually analyze somebody that way. And it can help in not wasting a lot of time with somebody at certain times.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So I mean, it's the same conversation around congruency, right? Is if you're going to be an image, you have to complete that image. You have to believe and be that image. Now, nobody cares what that image is. I mean, your audience may, right? But like there's room for every differing image opinion, right? Whether that's because I'm not a fancy guy. I drive domestic all the time, right? I don't wear suits, I wear sweaters, right? But that's who I am, right? I'm a blue collar type individual, maybe a white collar, if you will, right? But that's who I talk to. That's what I talk about when I'm on my social media. It's who I focus my attention on, right? I'm trying to bring people to a different level with the knowledge that I can share, right? So when you're talking about your social media platforms, whether it's Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, doesn't really matter. You get to choose who you are. Nobody else gets to choose that. Nobody can tell you who to be, right? And that's a really important and empowering thing, because when you're in business, you have to make big decisions, very big decisions about who you serve, because this is a business of service. Real estate is a business of service. We don't have product, we have service. We find product, we sell houses, but we are a service industry. So you get to choose, though, who you serve. Nobody can tell you you must work with somebody. Nobody. I don't care who it is. Because you're an independent contractor when you get your real estate license. You are not an employee. Understand that? And that's a big differentiation. Huge thing to think about. Is nobody is your boss. So that also means that nobody is going to tell you what to do, and nobody is going to be there when you didn't do it. It's on you.
So you also get to choose what clients you want.
Yes.
So recently, one of our agents had a client that was the ultimate micromanager.
Yes.
Wanted to see how the wording was going to be written up.
Mhm.
Had to be involved in every piece of the listing, every piece of the sale, to the point where the agent was going to walk away, was just fed up. And I said, there's a paycheck at the end, just manage the person. And she hung in, got it sold. But it was somebody doubting, and that's the hard part, is somebody doubting everything you go and do. You draw the listing up, here's the wording. Oh, I don't like the wording. I want it this way. So every step. So you just have to, so if you get somebody like that and they are totally unreasonable, you can say, this is not working out. And I think you may want to go with somebody else.
Right.
And walk away from it. It's one of the negative people that Chris spoke about earlier that will drag you down.
Yes. Yeah.
And really drag you down and almost send you into a tailspin.
Definitely.
So at some point you have to go, I don't want to go into that tailspin. I don't want to put up with it. I don't want to get into that negative rut. I'm going to walk away from it and on to the next one.
Yes.
So that's the choice you have in this business. It's your business. So you get to say what you want to do.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And it's really important that we understand that you are your primary, you are your own employer. When you join a brokerage, you're hiring that brokerage, right? They're there to provide you with service. That's what the brokerage is for. Okay, so whichever brokerage you decide to choose, you want a brokerage that's there to serve you, not one that's there to serve themselves. So at the end of the day, we talk about I keep bringing it back to social media because that's kind of the primary topic of today. So we can be congruent, but yet sound a little different on each platform. And the uses of each platform may be different. Facebook is a platform where the audience is aging. It's not a young audience typically on Facebook anymore, right? Which is okay, because Facebook is where the money is. Because the audience that goes on Facebook is still middle-aged, has money, baby boomers, grandparents, young adults, right? But other places would be good for your up-and-coming audiences or your up-and-coming clients. TikTok is a great place where people are making great inroads towards, providing value via information or humor or just a break from reality. Or, I've seen lots of people selling houses on TikTok, lots of house selling TikToks now. Logan actually puts together some really amazing videos, right? So if you want some information on how to put together some really fun videos, and some of my favorite videos of Logan's are her outtake videos, right? Because people want to know you're real. They don't want to know you're fake, right? They want to know you're real, okay? The adage is, I don't care what you know until I know that you care. Right? So unless you can prove to me that you care or you're real, right? I don't care how much knowledge you have. It doesn't matter. Because I can't believe you or I don't like you. So when you're on social media, you're showing people that you care. You care about their financial well-being, you care about their families, you care about their health, you care about their environment, you care about their communities. These are all really important things that we understand, is that we need to show that we care. And that's what we can do with social media. Now, I don't want to like say social media is the only thing you should do, because it's not. Does anybody have any other things that they should do outside of social media? Any thoughts?
I really like the idea of connecting with local businesses and creating some affiliate marketing strategies, which could also be used on social media.
Absolutely.
Heavily.
Absolutely. Number one best way to rank your websites onto Google is through links. So if you have affiliate marketing partners, or you have partners that are other community businesses, and you guys are sharing each other's content, your websites will grow in the rankings naturally. So when you link back to other people's pages, those links are one of the best things to do to gain Google Analytics reviews. Mandra?
Sorry, Chris, just a comment. Outside of social media, I think what I'm trying to do, even before I get the license, I'm trying to help local not-for-profit organization, community organization, arrange events or helping them fundraising. So I think I'm the guy who's the point of contact for them. If they have to help them on certain things. I think what it does is that it proves, it gives you an opportunity that people can relate to you, saying okay, this guy is going to be a realtor. They don't know that I'm going to be a realtor, but it gives them an opportunity that they can relate to them, that we share some common interest. And that's a psychological impact that will go a long way. It might not happen today or tomorrow, but there's an opportunity that you're trying to create. There's going to be 25 people that you're going to be meeting, helping them arrange a fund, or like, arrange an event. I think that's a subtle marketing that you're doing to yourself. At the same time, I mean, like, you're going to be helping them based on your interest.
Absolutely.
Like, I do a lot of, I go to the food bank and I volunteer for a couple of days. I meet a lot of people there, and then I'm helping a temple build a temple, a Hindu temple in Ajax. So I'm doing a fundraising for that. I'm also trying to educate people on public speaking. I help people, on personality development and all these things. So I don't know. These are mix of stuff which is absolutely not in social media, which is going to help you brand yourself and help you develop yourself in your career.
Yeah, so they are social media, right? They are social media. They're just not digitalized social media.
Yeah, you're right.
There's a huge, I mean, not everything has to be digital, right? The fact that you're part of a community and that community is sharing in your knowledge and your experience and your passion, right? That's a social event. And they're sharing that mouth to mouth, voice to voice, person to person. That's networking 101, right? We can take the concepts of online and bring them offline, right? Being part of your community, whatever community it is you choose to be part of, is your best way to grow your business.
And one of the advice that I took seriously from Bruce is like, trying to enlarge that circle. So what I did, Chris, is that I'm part of a lot of WhatsApp group, and everybody is like, it could be your school group or like, community group. So I started like, picking up my phone and talking to people, not to say that I'm going to be a realtor, but like, asking them for like fundraising or like trying to help them like understand, hey, there's something happening here. Do you want to be part of it? Like these are random people on the WhatsApp group, and I'm going to say like, I'm part of the WhatsApp group. Do you want part of it? So I'm putting up my name out there just to say that, no, you know what, this is exactly what I'm doing. If you're interested, join me.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Right? You're taking everything we're saying and putting it into practice. Yeah, it doesn't have to be real estate related because, what is it? It's straw man fallacy, right? Or it's expert fallacy or something like that is what it is. Is people will believe you're an expert in everything if you're an expert in one thing, right? So be integrated, right? And people will trust you. And if they trust you one place, they're going to trust you other places, right? And if you're doing it with the best of intentions, like Mahendra, you're doing these things because you believe in what you're doing, right? It's not for sales. It's not a sales tactic, right? It's because you believe in the connection you're making, right? And I know you to be a stand-up guy. I know you to be somebody who has conviction, right? I know you somebody that is congruent with what how he talks and how he acts, right? And that's important stuff. And people will respond to you in that same way.
So what Mahendra's doing is what was done when I got started in real estate. There was no social media. There was no cell phones. So you ended up having to do a lot of meeting, seeing a lot of people, be in different groups, different circles, and you were always there. You weren't selling real estate, but they definitely called you when they needed to sell real estate. So you just keep expanding that group that you get into, but it doesn't always have to be online. It can be I applaud you for what you're doing because that's exactly the way to do it. When you do become a realtor, then they go, oh, you're a realtor. Well, why did you come over? We're thinking of selling. But it's all the buildup, not the instant, oh, I'm a realtor, you need to use me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That part doesn't work.
No.
And being, congruent, consistent. I'm a big one for consistent. If you're a certain way, be that way all the time.
Yes. Be who you are. Don't be somebody else. That's important. And on social media, the same thing. Be the same way you are. Be who you want to be. Okay.
You're breaking up.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I was.
Repeat.
I don't remember what I said.
He said, be who you want to be.
Be all you can be. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yeah. There you go.
But just to add to the point, Chris, what Bruce was talking a couple of weeks ago, no matter what you talk, I think people always have a couple of comments, and then you're gonna spend probably like 3 to 5 minutes of conversation talking about real estate.
Yes.
Like I'm not the guy trying to initiate the conversation about real estate, but it eventually comes out, and then people start talking about it. Because as simple as a question like, where do you live? Oh, I live in Ajax. Like, what's the main intersection? Oh, it's like Wesley and Kingston. Oh my God, when did you buy the house? I mean, like it naturally tends out to be a real estate conversation, whether you want it or not. And then people like eventually like talk about it. Oh my God, I'm glad I bought 5 years ago. I can't even afford a house. I mean, like that's the conversation it's building up. And it's nothing intentional. I thought it was a BS when Bruce said, but but it eventually actually worked out. And every time I spoke to somebody, it was just like the circle comes in.
Yeah, there's this it's like it's a circular, it's like it's a programmed conversation in people's minds. It's hi, your name is, my name is, what do you do for work? Where do you live? Oh my goodness, real estate. It's like the Canadian thing. I don't care where you are in Canada. It's the same conversation. Everybody is talking about real estate. Everybody. So you get to talk about it a lot and take every opportunity to talk about it.
To the point years ago, I'd be at parties and I'd have almost too many people wanting to talk about real estate, to the point where I always had cards with me. Here's my card, give me a call and we'll carry the conversation on. I was trying to enjoy myself.
Yeah, bring hats, one that says realtor, one that says not realtor. You say, let me change hats for a second.
Yeah, and then they'd call you back and then you'd have a good conversation. But
yeah,
everybody wants to talk real estate. That's where it's almost the easiest business in the world, because you don't have to initiate it. They'll get to it, and you'll be the center of attention.
One of my best marketing campaigns I did was a door knocking campaign. And I had done some local flyers that were the flyers that, kind of all the businesses in the area kind of advertised on the same flyer. And I would go door knocking and I say, listen, I'm Chris, I'm from Chase Realty. I'm here in support of local business. Local businesses have put together this, whatever, I think it was a calendar, or like a magnetic calendar. Right, local business have put together this magnetic calendar for you, for the neighborhood, and I want to share this with you and provide it to you one-on-one. And because I was there supporting local businesses, I wasn't there trying to sell houses. Right, it really reduced the amount of anxiety people had when talking to me. It was my buffer for that marketing campaign. Right.
And Chris, I have a question probably for Morgan and Ahmad and you maybe. I mean, like, I know that there's a lot of stuff going on in real estate and social media. I follow Morgan and Ahmad in Facebook. Maybe this is a question for everybody. How do you work around the social media fatigue? Because everybody is overflowing information in Facebook. Yeah. I mean, like, you put your stuff there, like, you talk about real estate, you talk about this and that, but don't you feel there's a lot of social media fatigue, knowing for the fact that people are spending a lot of time on their phones because of the pandemic?
Yeah.
Do you mean fatigue on the end user's part or on the creator's part?
Yeah, that was my question.
Both?
Yeah, because you don't get to see people, so you have to use some medium, and then you're going on your phone or like a TikTok or Facebook or doing, right? I mean, like that's something. Now might not be your personality to do that, but then you're forced to do that, right? And then the second is the end user, like, why do I have to see this video?
Well, that was exactly, I shared one of those posts just the other day about shout out to all the people who want to take a social media break but have to run a business. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a real thing, but I mean, there's ways around it. Automation, automation is going to help relieve that, and it's also just going to help you systemize your business, and because you can spend so much time as a creator on social media, and it's important and you have to, but there's ways to limit the time that you have to actually do it.
Automation is number one. Mm-hmm. It's blocking time to do your posts for the week, not for the day. Right?
Yeah, and I have a suggestion too when it comes to because actually if you want your algorithm to grow on social media, you need to be following some other accounts and you need to be interacting with them. So you need to unfollow those who are not serving your target or not serving you, so that you can save time to yourself. And also you need to know very well who are you targeting. So feel free to unfollow accounts that is not serving your purpose,
Yes.
so that when you actually follow the good ones, you interact with them enough so that your algorithm grow on social media.
Yes, very good point. Very good point. And that's really important. That goes back to part of the conversation that we talked about earlier is be part of bring people who actually serve you into your circle and take people who don't serve you out of your circle. Because there's only so much time in a day, right? You don't want to be scrolling through people's timelines. Honestly, I love people's baby pictures, but I've seen a lot of baby pictures, right? That's why I love when Morgan brings Margot on these live calls, so I don't have to look at any baby pictures. Right?
I've done a pretty good job of not flooding my feeds with baby pictures.
And you're not the culprit, but
yeah.
But
No, and I think on social media, you want to be a person first and not a company first. You want to be a person that you happen to be in real estate, and they'll know that, but that shouldn't be the primary. It should be the person first.
No, exactly.
It's a balance.
That's a very good point, Pros, because actually people mainly follow social media for entertainment. So if you keep pushing business on them, they will get tired of you and eventually they will unfollow you. So you need to show them a part of your life, part of you as a human being, your dogs, your kids, your hobbies, your cooking skills, in a very light, quick way. And it's actually, there's a rule called 80-20. So 80-20, the 80% should be including some entertainment and some value before you give the 20% of business. And you integrate the 20% in a very indirect way, because people, if they keep seeing business all the time, they will just get tired of you and unfollow you.
Tone out, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So Gary Vaynerchuk wrote a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And that speaks exactly to what you're saying, Azza. So if you've never seen it or read it, it's Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. And essentially it says that you need to provide and set up before you act, right? You need to set people back with your jabs, right? Before you can set them up for the right hook and ask for something. You need to be giving them and putting them on their heels, or making them entertain or taking them off guard before you can ask for stuff. If you just come right out of the gate swinging with haymakers, you're going to get set back on your ass. Right? So what you're saying is extremely good value, Azza, is saying that yes, you need to be providing people with service. You need to provide with something that they find value in, not you finding value in. Right? A service business is one that gives, not takes. So be a giver. Right? We come back to the First Steps program here. This is social media, folks. We're on media, we're being social, right? Bruce and I show up every Thursday. We provide as much value as we possibly can. We give as much advice. We talk about everything we possibly can give. We open our kingdoms. We tell you everything we know, and we spill it out free of charge, without any desire for you to pay us back. And we hope that comes across. You're muted, Bruce. I can't hear you.
But we do have a commercial coming up that tells you how to donate. So just kidding. So.
The infomercial at the end.
Yeah.
But the idea is that we are providing, we believe that the value, that we put value out forward, and people obviously find that value because they continue to show up, right? So they find our content valuable, right? And while it may be exhausting, because I drone on for an hour on end, right? I hope that it fills your cup and doesn't drain your cup.
And Chris, one more question. Sorry for this. How do you fight stupidity on social media? Because there's a lot of millionaires on social media. Like there's a guy who makes like this and makes $2 million. Like, what the
Good.
heck is that?
Good. Let him. So there's
Like
a,
as this said, you have the choice to unfollow that.
yeah, I'll unfollow that person. They don't give them any more of your time or attention. The
Sorry
idea
for my
is
question, but
that,
then I mean, like, no, what you're saying is absolutely fine. Like Morgan posted an amazing, beautiful message, like, no, very important, right?
unfollow
But then
that
the
asshole.
guy who comes in and mocks Morgan like this, he's the one who's going to be followed a million people, like not Morgan,
Maybe.
right?
You can't fight stupid. And to fight stupid is yelling at the wind for blowing. Right? And if
That,
you're yelling,
that makes me so much angry because every time like I see valuable posts, I mean, like, I want to see that, but then like, no, couple of months later, you might be seeing a meme of it. I get like, oh my God.
yeah, trolls be trolling, man.
Your aim should be long-term growth anyways.
Yeah.
So that person will just be a blip. They're not going to be there for long. So, pick your niche, be yourself, provide value, and you will organically grow.
Yeah, it's a tough one because we do see the flash in the pans, and the flash in the pans are bright, right? They're very bright and they're very loud, but they are not the ones cooking the food, right? You can't cook food with flash in the pan. You need a prolonged heat. You need to be able to warm that stuff up, right? You need a delicate touch on the burner to get things to be the right temperature. Flash in the pans will be bright. They will be loud. You will notice them. You will see them, but they won't stay there very long. And there will be a lot of them. And there's more and more and more of it. That's fine because people are tuning that shit out. And and to be completely blunt, the people that are following those type of people are the people I do not serve. They're not my people. They're not who I attract. Right? And I wouldn't want to work with them anyway. And I get that choice. And that's a beautiful thing in this world is we get that choice. That's pretty much all I have to say about that. Does anybody have any questions, comments? Was there anything put in chat? I don't think so. Anybody have any questions that they've come up with outside of what we've already talked about?
No, but I do have a piece of advice to everybody, and I shared that when I first joined First Steps. And it summarizes what this call touches on. Choose your niche, choose your market, choose your people, and the kind of tribe you want around you. You don't succeed alone. You succeed with the people that you have, and by building a client base that actually works for you. Just as much as they have the power to choose you among other realtors, you have the power to choose who you want to work with. So that's my 2 cents for all the buddies that are joining the family.
Love it. Love it. It's great advice. Words to live by. Everyone's kind of quietly somber and thinking. It's a big conversation because we're talking about creating your ethos and your personality. We're talking about defining who you are to the greater population. Go ahead, Logan.
Oh, I was just laughing because I went off camera there to take a short video for the First Steps page. And of course, my sound didn't work 50 times. So I'm on take 30 now. Because every time I take the video, it's not working. It's just a simple like, hey guys, update, it's Thursday. We're at our First Steps meeting. We're in a deep conversation about social media. And I got to say it over and over again. So I'm just kind of, it's ironic.
I love it.
That's all.
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? So
Okay.
go ahead.
I can
Erhan.
share.
Something.
Okay, Azza and then Erhan. Yeah.
Okay, I just need anyone who have used the automation apps to recommend some because I never used them before.
Hootsuite.
That's
Yes.
okay.
I need this too. Go ahead.
Hootsuite is one of the easiest apps to utilize for automation for a lot of your social media stuff.
Which one?
HOOTSUITE. Hootsuite.
HOOT.
SUITE.
I use Sendable.
Sendable is another
It's a
one.
little cheaper.
It's a little cheaper.
Or you could hire somebody somewhere that's even cheaper.
I don't know. It's not necessarily cheaper because Hootsuite's $14 a month or whatever it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Sendable's on like $9.99 a month or something. But yes, you still have to spend the time to actually create the content too. But whereas Mahendra has people creating the content for him, so he doesn't have to spend that time. So those are the two probably the most popular ones out there right now. That you can that will integrate and will automate the scheduling. And they'll do email. You can do, and well, you can also do MailChimp and stuff like that for mail outs for emails. And if you have
Sorry, Chris, there's one more called Hero Post, which is even cheaper.
Hero Post.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that one. If woof.com was thing, then we would do that one, right? But it's not. For those that know The Office, woof.com. Woof. Erhan, you had something you wanted to say.
No, just for the previous one. I mean, we sold many, for example, I mean, the consumer goods all the time. And we had a saying which we were using all the time, and many rivals fell into that trap. I mean, if you need to serve or try to serve everybody, all the community, you fell into a wrong direction. You don't go to your way. That means if you have a way, you cannot serve everybody.
That's right. Absolutely. There's a Bible verse that goes along with that, and I don't mean to be preachy about it, but you can't serve two masters. Right? So you have to pick one and work it. So it's the same idea. Pick your niche. Speak to who you want to speak to and who serves you in the long run.
I have kind of a question on that. You kind of talked about people that you don't want to work with. So if there's people in the past that have bought and sold to me, but I don't want specifically their business anymore, would I still keep them in my CRM in hopes for referrals, or should I just?
It all depends on how poisonous they were, right? If having them in your atmosphere, in your circle at all is poisonous in your brain, is like if they call me every time you look at the phone, if they call and you're like, daggers to the heart, then no, get rid of them. They're not worth the money that they may spend, right? They're taking up too much of your inventory, right? Because you only have so much space that you can deal with. And there's probably people that are far more valuable to you out there to be focusing on. But if there's people that are like tolerable, but you just don't like them very much, then yeah, referring them off is a great thing. Hey, listen, I can't serve you myself right now, but I can refer you to somebody who can. That's a great way, a great tool in real estate, right? Now, I've fired many a client doing that, right? Listen, I don't have the ability to serve you effectively at the moment, but this person here will make sure that you get taken care of. And then when they buy, then you get a little bit of the joy, right? So it all really depends, and there's no right or wrong, or there's not an answer to that. I would say that in my CRM, because my CRM is sacrosanct, it is like the only people that are in my CRM are the people I want to market to, that I will actively market to. And I say this to people all the time, like my CRM is a lean working machine. It's built for me to gain business from. And if I have people in there that I don't want to serve, why am I marketing to them? Right?
Okay.
If I don't want their phone calls in the first place, I don't want to send them things that are going to get them to call me.
Yeah.
Right? But if they happen to call me, even though I didn't market to them, well, that's fine. I'll refer them off. Right?
Again, maybe I can give a product example. Maybe it might, might be
Please.
helping. Let's say if you want to sell fresh bread, say, and your oven will be capable for 5 varieties. Let's say if some customer asks for the 6th one, a different one, I may not serve that. It's not depending on the guy, depending on. So I decide which breads to serve, which markets, which type of clients, let's say, and that's my serving. Let's say if I need to serve something else, that means I cannot serve this existing client.
That's right. That's right.
Great example.
Very good example. Right? Know what you can do.
Thank you.
Know your limit. Play within it. Right? Know the people you serve. Right? You don't have to serve everyone. In fact, it's usually counterproductive to try to serve everyone, because you can't. You just can't do it. You can't be a voice to every single person. You cannot appeal to everyone, and you have to be okay with that. Some people need to be liked by everyone, right? But you can't. And for those that don't like me, I just don't know them, right? They just don't know me yet. That's all.
I think, Chris, your example of the group you go after is more blue collar and have in the past in the sales side. And you knew that. And I was always impressed with that when you first told me the story. Rather than going after multiple groups and maybe groups that you're not really comfortable with, and you're trying to pretend you want to get into those groups, you deal with a group that you could easily get into and were comfortable with and very successful at the same time.
Yep, 40 to 60-year-old females. That was my niche. 40 to 60-year-old females. That's where I spent most of my time.
So that's what we're really talking about here, is getting into an area. So Chris would not do, at the time, decided he's not going into the high-end real estate.
Oh, still
It's a totally different group. You have to talk different. You have to act different.
He still doesn't like it.
I have
I'm
never.
trying to get him into
I've
it. He
only
doesn't
sold.
want to
I've
listen.
sold one house over $1 million. That's
And
all
then
I've
you're
ever
like,
sold.
"Do that."
One house over $1 million.
That's the average in Hamilton right now.
I'm telling you. I've only
So,
sold one
I think
house
that
over
I
$1
think the
million.
new 1 million is now at least 1.5.
Maybe so.
But that's actually an example of what we're talking about, is to get into the group that where you are comfortable and easy to talk, easy to converse with. It's just, that's the group you want to be in. If you try to go to a different group and you're not there, they'll pick it out real quick.
Know who your tribe is. Seth Godin wrote a book called Tribes. Good book to learn, to read. Good book. All these things are just to define who we are and what we want to do. And the earlier we define our marketplace for ourselves, the easier it's going to be for you to transition into real estate. The earlier we realize that we're self-employed and there's not going to be any boss telling us to go to work, the better you're going to be able to perform when you get your license. Because real estate is a business of you doing work, talking to the people that matter most to you, helping them, serving them. I'm going to stop the recording here, folks.